After the Hornets selected Tidjane Salaun last year, we're just a little afraid around here, having not done our homework on a guy, because we didn't talk about Tidjane all that much. We're trying to avoid that mistake again. Who are the guys that we would consider blind spots, players that aren't being talked about enough that the Hornets could select in the first round? We have more mock drafts. We have Sicko satchel questions. That's all today. Locked On Hornets.
You are Locked On Hornets, your daily Charlotte Hornets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
In a minute, cuz we live.
It's Locked On Hornets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Thanks for making us your first listen. We're free. We're available anywhere you get your podcast, and that includes YouTube. There's Doug Branson, everyhornetsboxscore.com. Also hosts Locked On NBA. Go check it out already. If you only listen to Locked On Hornets, one, we thank you, but you can branch out just a little bit. Go check out some other Locked On Podcast Network pods. Locked On NBA, Matt Moore and Hayes doing a great job. Walker Mail, listen to me on WFNZ every weekday, 12 to 3 p.m. Got one more day to go, filling in for the Kyle Bailey Show. It's been going well so far. A little drive time walkie talk. Listen, 92.7 FM. Blind spots. It's so funny, man, because we'll reference it every once in a while, but nobody saw the Tidjane Salaun selection coming. I think last year we had like one guy hanging out in our YouTube comment section that would pop up, I don't know, every 5 to 7 episodes. Hey, what about Tidjane Salaun? Look at this guy overseas. He's awesome. He's the real deal. That was the extent of it. We mentioned it and we moved on. And sure enough, he's the Hornets draft pick. We're trying to avoid that, okay? Doug had the idea of just making sure that we're checking our blind spots, okay? We look in the side mirror. Just because you don't see the player there, like you got to lean up a little bit. Go check your blind spots, all right? So who are the guys that, there is a car over there. I shouldn't switch lanes right now. Who are those draft prospects? Doug, lead us off here. Who are some of those guys?
Draft picks are closer than they may appear. We have to
I love it.
Just be careful.
Yeah. That was going to be my next joke. I was going to let you do it, then I was going to fill in, but nice job beating me to the punch.
And so many, I used to joke with a friend of mine in college that he was funnier, but I was faster. There's so many opportunities here for the Hornets, the Hornets to move back that I think we have to take it seriously. And there's been enough noise around that and actual reporting around the Hornets making calls to teams and fielding calls and saying, yeah, we're definitely interested in moving back. And there are teams like the Washington Wizards and New Orleans Pelicans that will be monitoring who the Sixers take at 3. And if they can get a deal done with the Sixers, and if they can't, then that's going to open up all kinds of things for the Hornets to make some quick decisions. And so if they do move back, let's say 6 to 10, I think there are a number of guys that we haven't talked about yet. I think Con Knippel could be available in that range. We talked a ton about him. But how about a guy like Carter Bryant from Arizona, who people are just saying, look, if you want a 3-and-D guy, this guy's 6'7", 7-foot wingspan, almost 20 years old. So he has, he's a little bit older than your 18 and a half and 19-year-old prospects. And he's a 3-and-D guy. He's gonna do all those things. And the comps for him are Toumani Camara, Marvin Williams, Aaron Gordon. I mean, there's some good names that are comped with him. And Tari Eason also, because he is super committed to the defensive end of the floor. And those guys are hard to come by, and they're super valuable. And to get a guy like that, again, there's so many opportunities for the Hornets to take a guy that could be a 7, 8, 9, 10-year role player for them. And it's not sexy. We don't love to talk about that here. People don't love to hear about it. They want to go and say, you've got the 4th pick, go and get the superstar. But we've seen it over and over with the 2 teams that are in the finals right now. Those teams are built on the 7th, 8th, 9th guy in the rotation, you being able to count on them for stout defense and to knock in some threes when you're down 5 in the 4th quarter. And Carter Bryant seems like a guy that could do that. Not going to hit threes, but Collin Murray-Boyles, like if they're looking for physicality, if they're looking for somebody that's committed on the defensive end of the floor, if they're looking for somebody that could become a greater version of themselves, and you get to pick up maybe a shooting asset along the way like a Corey Kispert from Washington, then why not take your shot at a guy like Collin Murray-Boyles from South Carolina?
Yeah, I mean, can't shoot very well. You look at the above the break threes, shot 29% on
Not
those
good.
threes. Didn't shoot really any from the corner. In fact, shot 0.9% of his field goal attempts from the corner in college.
So maybe he's
just
hiding
not
it under a
something-
bushel.
the next Nick Richards with this team. I like the idea of drafting off of that, and Jeff Peterson at the podium saying, no, our organization believes that he's hiding a corner three under a bushel. Next question. Anybody? Yeah, you should feel comfortable with this draft process. But no, defensively, I know a lot of people love him. The comps are like, if you go to the Ringer draft guide with some of the funny comps that they'll give to guys, it's Draymond Green, it's Ron Artest or Meta World Peace. The big bubble is Anthony Mason, which is so funny when you see those comps and then you go up 10 spots, right? Because Collin Murray-Boyles is all the way down at 16, according to the draft guide. But if you go up to Con Knipple, you're seeing comps like Wally Zerbiak, and you're going to VJ Edgecombe, who you and I both like, and you're seeing comps to radioactive, spider-bitten Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. It's like, wait, can I get the guy that has the low outcome of Meta World Peace, all the other All-NBA and All-Defense and Defensive Player of the Year comps? Can I just get that guy instead a little bit later? So the comps are kind of funny. I'm with you. I think he's probably a good blind spot guy. The other names that I'm bringing up, it's a name that Nada mentioned, but just a little bit yesterday. Thomas Sorber is a 6'10" freshman out of Georgetown. You know, you look at what he's 6'9" and has a 7'6" wingspan. If you feel like he can be your defensive anchor, who at 260 pounds, by the way, like he's a monster of a dude, where maybe he's not as tall as the other centers in this draft, like a Malawach or a Danny Wolf. That might be another blind spot guy. I don't think so, but could be here. But Sorber, I feel like that might fit a little bit of what Charles Lee is looking for. Maybe not with the height, but I wonder if the wingspan and the standing reach might offset that in a trade back scenario. It feels like you might trade a little bit further back if you're going to be in the Sorber range, but that's another name that I thought Nada brought up yesterday that did make some sense, because Doug, it's not like we're off of center, right? We're not off the position entirely. In fact, we're looking at maybe addressing that in the second round, and Kalkbrenner has been our favorite. Reynaud is someone we love, but we've stopped talking about him because it just doesn't seem like he's going to be there. He's going to be a first-round pick. I mean, he could sneak up in the lottery. But it's not like we're avoiding center. It's just that there aren't any options that make sense to us within the range the Hornets are selecting. Maybe that's how the Hornets feel. It would be a lot of centers on the roster, but maybe Sorber is another guy that's a blind spot, dude.
I mean, I think this top 10 is just filled with positional fit for the Charlotte Hornets. Like, I think Carter Bryant slots right in. Like, he's what if Kelly Oubre, but was super committed to the defensive end of the floor in a way, and had the tools defensively as he develops to become like a Kelly Oubre plus defender. Like, I think that would be exciting to what the Charlotte Hornets have right now. When you're talking about Collin Murray-Boyles, can't shoot right now. Could he develop? I mean, neither could Draymond Green. And Draymond Green went on this sort of arc where, like, he became a good shooter and then became not a good shooter again. But, you know, you could see Collin Murray-Boyles doing some of the same things, and you've got a little bit of defensive and positional versatility with him, so he could play some small ball center if you don't want to address your center position right away, or you need if you want to move on from Mark Williams, it gives you that flexibility because you could start Nurkic and then have Collin Murray-Boyles sort of float between power forward and center. I think it would give you time. If you feel like Tidjane Salaun needs another year, Collin Murray-Boyles gives you another year of figuring out what Tidjane is before you finally move on, maybe from Miles Bridges, and see how that contract develops. But then Collin Murray-Boyles plays right in behind Miles Bridges. Also, if you do trade back, you do allow yourself opportunities to take players where the idea is not going to be for them to start as soon as possible. You can take an NBA-ready role player who is not going to be too upset, and the money is going to be such where your books aren't going to be as upset with that player spending a year as a bench role player. And so whether it's Sorber, Collin Murray-Boyles, again, I recognize that the comments are going to be like, are you telling me you're going to pass up on VJ or the opportunity to select a star? Like, if you believe in Trey or Ace Bailey, like, you're going to pass that up? I mean, if it means that the Hornets, I would be less in love with it if the Hornets trade back for future draft assets. I would be more in love with it, honestly, if they were to work with a team like Washington or Brooklyn or New Orleans to bring back an already NBA ready-made asset that could either help them be better shooters or be better defenders. This team has a ton of holes. If they could answer multiple of those in this draft, I think that's a win for the Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah, and I think I'm viewing this more as what the Hornets might do more so than what I'm advocating for, because
I'm always thinking about what I want. So
100%, and you should. It's okay to be selfish sometimes. It's okay to be selfish, probably not all the time. Don't listen to that part. But if they do trade back and then draft some of these guys, that's how I'm looking at it. I don't want to pass up on VJ. I'm taking VJ Edgecombe if he's there at 4, and I'm calling it a day. I'm just done. Let's move on with that kind of guy. If you trade back a couple of spots, then maybe you still are in some kind of Trey Johnson, Con Knipple territory. I'm probably just going to take one of the shooting guards and then do the same thing, call it a day. But I'm looking at blind spots because I don't know what oncoming traffic is heading my way, right? I'm looking back, seeing what some of the other opportunities are. You want to go rapid fire just real quickly? I'm going to throw names your way, and you tell me if that car is in one of your blind spots. You ready?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. All right. Derek Queen, somebody we used to talk about and haven't because of bad combine stuff. He's very slow, but really, really talented and fun offensively.
Too much bust potential for me. The one thing the Hornets cannot do is waste this pick entirely and have another 2021 situation on their hands. Derek Queen, to me, presents that opportunity. He's in the rearview mirror.
Igor Demon out of BYU, the passing savant.
Yeah, the falling star. I mean, people had him like top 3 for a long time, and then they got a good look at him in college. Too many turnovers, the playmaking, the shooting, not as there as they thought it was going to be. I'm not in love with that, particularly when you're bringing him to a team where LaMelo Ball is going to soak up so much of the oxygen. I think Igor Demon, if he goes to a team, is going to need playing time. I'm not sure he's going to get it in Charlotte. He's not even in the rearview mirror. I don't see that guy.
Okay.
That guy's at the rest stop. That guy's at the rest stop.
He shot 18.6% from 3 on over 5 attempts per game. It's really just the audacity. It's really that's what I love. It's the shooting volume on shooting under 20%.
I swear I can hit it. It's a Tim Cup mentality.
Just throw up more shots, my guy. I love it. Nick Clifford out of Colorado State. I know a lot of people like him. Is he somebody that is a possible blind spot guy?
Oh, man, Nick Clifford's an interesting one. And the thing that people are going to point to immediately is that he's 23 years old, right? Super senior. So a lot of the stuff that you've seen from him so far is already going to be baked in. You're basically getting generally the player that you're going to expect over the next 4 or 5 years. You're getting that immediately. And so, man, if this team were, I think, a little bit more ready to compete, like if they had maybe gotten to the play-in last season, if everyone would have stayed healthy, and then it felt like maybe they were a piece or two away, then you could sell me on a Nick Clifford, who does seem to be another sort of two-way player. I think shot 37.7% from 3 last season. The numbers, the college numbers look really good, but like how much of that is going to translate to the NBA? Versatile defender, guards multiple positions. Like a lot of it makes sense. But maybe it makes sense for a team that if it's going to be your only pick, like if Nick Clifford's the only pick, then I think that's going to be disappointing to a lot of Hornets fans who do want to see someone with a little bit more of an upside play that could possibly make an all-star game. Like I think, there's a little bit of room there for Carter Bryant to do that. There's a little bit of room there for Collin Murray-Boyles, who we've just, we're going to do Draymond Green comparisons till the cows come home. There's a little bit of room for that with Nick Clifford. So I'll say Nick Clifford is in my blind spot. He's not in my rear view. He's in my blind spot, but it would have to come with maybe like a combination of some other things happening for that to make a lot of sense for me.
Okay, final one here. I'm just going to give you, I think, one more. What about
rear view? So yeah, Nick is in the rear view for me.
Yeah. Okay, those are the ones I have. I did have another one I wanted to add, though. I see it now. Like one of the French guys, but the name that I've been hearing a lot of people, it's maybe 2. I'll just throw 2 of them. Behringer and Noah Penda. Those guys, are they blind spot players?
Maybe for trade. I think those to me would be trade up opportunities. Like if you wanted to, if you fell in love with that guy, or
a little too far back from 4. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like that's a 30 packaging 33 and 34 and something to get up into the late first round if one of those guys falls, and your scouting department was like, hey, this is an opportunity here. Then yeah, I think the one thing we do know is the Hornets are going to fall in love with someone. And if that's VJ Edgecombe, it might be VJ Edgecombe, but it might be something wildly different. And I think that's why it's important to pay attention to these blind spots.
By the way, I didn't bring up Coward. I know you're a big fan of Coward.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
we just started. Right.
Not
so,
even in my blind spot. Like he's out in front.
You see him.
I would love Coward.
Yeah, Coward. Yakachonis is somebody that we've talked about a decent amount as being like the guy that we've kind of prepped everyone for. If they do trade back, maybe that would make some sense. So those are the reasons I didn't bring those names up. Coming up next on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
Bees everywhere!
It's been a while. We have not rummaged through the Sicko satchel in quite some time. We do it in the next segment, Locked On Hornets. This episode is brought to you by CarGurus. Shopping for a car should be exciting, not exhausting. But between the confusing prices and hidden fees, it can feel overwhelming. But that's why I love using CarGurus. They help you cut through the noise and show you the best deals with full confidence. With over 4 million listings, CarGurus has more new and used cars than any other major online marketplace in the U.S., and they verify dealers, provide real price analysis, and give you the tools and data you need to make the right choice without second guessing yourself. If you need a deal you can trust, CarGurus makes it easy to compare vehicles side by side with unbiased deal ratings. And the best feature is that they have price drop alerts, so you know exactly when the perfect car is available for your budget. Buy or sell your next car today with CarGurus at CarGurus.com. Go to CarGurus.com to make sure your big deal is the best deal. That's CarGurus. CarGurus.com. CarGurus.com. More Locked On Hornets ahead. How appropriate, by the way. If I was a good host, I would have made the connection of blind spots and CarGurus. I didn't. I apologize to our sponsor, but we appreciate them still for helping us out on the Locked On Podcast Network. We move on. The Sicko Satchel. You are the keeper. It's been a while. Is it full? Like, do we just have a ton of mail from all of these fans that are at our doorstep like the paparazzi? How many questions do we got here, Doug?
We've got 2 questions here from the Sicko Satchel that I pulled out for today, but yes, we've got a lot more. Some of them are more silly season questions, and we love those. We are really focused on the draft right now.
Huge fan.
So we're gonna stick to those for now, but send all of your silly season questions, and we will get to them at a future date. And that's joinsubtext.com/Locked On Hornets. You can do a 14-day free trial. Go ahead and get your question in. We really appreciate it. All right, here we go. From Casual Hindu of the First Lance Stevenson Division. And they ask, do you think the current organization would have drafted LaMelo Ball? Whoa!
Ooh, good question. Good question. So the guys there at the time, you had a Devin Vassell, you had an Onyeka Okongwu, you had, I need to pull up some of the draft guys because James Wiseman will just operate that Anthony Edwards is off the board.
Right.
And James Wiseman is off the board. So that was also the COVID year, which I'm not trying to put him in the COVID year, but it is still kind of interesting how that played out. Patrick Williams, Isaac Okoro, Killian Hayes at 7, Obi Toppin 8, Denny Avdia at 9, Jalen Smith 10, Devin Vassell 11, and then let's just end with a star, Tyrese Halliburton at 12. Oh, boy. It was considered a 3-person draft. I remember the reports that the interviews were not going well for LaMelo. In fact, the great Rick Bonnell was one of the guys out in front of that report. He was one that kind of broke that news. The interviews weren't going well, but it was widely accepted. It was then kind of followed up like the Ace Bailey stuff. Yeah, this is going on in NBA circles. I can't tell you definitively yes that they would have. I ultimately think they would have selected LaMelo because it was considered more so of a 3-person draft, Doug, and we just didn't know who was going to go first between Anthony Edwards, James Wiseman, and LaMelo. Ultimately, I think they would have done a lot of homework elsewhere. Perhaps this would have been a trade back scenario for them. But yeah, I think they eventually would have just taken LaMelo.
They do put a lot of They do put, it seems like, I mean, with all the reporting around the Tidjane pick, that they put a lot of stock into meeting a player, looking them in the eye, talking to them, seeing if that player had a desire to become great. And maybe they could have done that with LaMelo Ball and overlooked whatever Golden State was looking at and saying, I don't know if this is right. I think if you put those guys in the situation that the Hornets were in at that time, which is they were desperate for something, some kind of star power that could move them in another direction, I just think they would be, I think they were smart enough in that situation to say, okay, we have to take the swing here. We'll figure it out. We'll get them in our system. We'll turn it around. Honestly, I wish that were the case. I wish that we've seen what Charles Lee was able to get out of LaMelo this season. Like, imagine if that were, his coach from the very beginning. Like, maybe we see a even better version of LaMelo Ball than we've seen, more complete, I should say. I think complete is the right word there. Version of LaMelo Ball than we've seen so far. So I think they would. It's difficult to answer. I hope they would. I hope they would not, because I think that's the danger for them, is sort of overthinking some of this talent stuff, but also I think they have a recognition of where this franchise is right now, and you have to make some of your decision making off of that. You can't operate as the kind of franchise that you want to be necessarily. You have to deal with some of the realities of what you are if you want to be most successful.
I remember that draft. I did almost go galaxy brain and think and toy with the idea of taking Devin Vassell. Huge Vassell guy. Loved him. But he was the 11th pick. And then eventually I settled on like, nah, you got to take the star. Like LaMelo's the guy. But yeah, yikes. Almost had a disaster choice there. When we go back and look at our history, that would not have been a good one. Any other Sicko Satchel questions?
Oh yeah, we got another one. I think, let's extend this question a little bit, and okay. Because we've got another one, but I want to do it on the other side. Do you think this version of the organization would have selected Malik Monk?
I don't know. So the thing about that draft, oh my God, I hate that you bring him up. I don't want to argue with you about Malik Monk anymore. All I want is peace, but you bring him up all the time. And all I want is peace, but you want chaos. Those are the differences between us. So Malik Monk, remember, he was a hot commodity, man. Like, a lot of people really liked him. Nobody expected him to fall. But to the contrary, he did fall. Like, he did go number 11 for a reason. And Rich Cho just felt, well, we have some star power that is here. And you've even seen it develop for different teams. As a 6th man of the year candidate, almost won it. Offensive hub when he's in the game, and even had some nice playoff performances. But also, it took him a while. It did. And I don't think that they would have taken him, honestly, not with what this organization prioritizes. I think Donovan Mitchell, Bam Adebayo, maybe those guys would have been the type of guy that they want, just because not that Malik had terrible character, but he made bad decisions here. He was also like a fun guy. I loved Malik's personality. He was fun, but the whole serious stuff, I think Donovan Mitchell was that older player. Bam Adebayo seemed to carry himself with a little more sincerity. Yeah, I would say probably not.
I'll say no, they definitely would not have. And the question here is, we're teleporting Jeff Peterson in this front office into that situation. So we're not taking Charles Lee with us. I think in my LaMelo Ball conversation, I had a dream that Charles Lee would have also teleported with Jeff Peterson and been LaMelo Ball's coach. But I think the spirit of this question is, do you think it says the current organization? So I don't know. Maybe Casual Hindu is thinking Charles Lee also goes through the portal. But if it's just Jeff Peterson, and so Steve Clifford is the coach, I say they definitely don't take LaMelo Ball. They don't take Malik Monk in that situation, because I think what we've seen from Jeff Peterson and Charles Lee so far is that they've been simpatico. They have been like in line with each other about what they think this franchise needs from a personnel perspective. And so I think that Jeff Peterson would have trusted Steve Clifford a little bit more. They would have been a little bit more in line, because I think Clifford and Charles Lee have a lot of the same ideas. And that's why, Clifford's still hanging around the organization, has a lot of respect for Charles Lee. Charles Lee has a lot of respect for Clifford. I'm not saying they're the exact same coach or that they think the same, but I think Charles Lee would have fallen in love with Donovan Mitchell as well. I think Steve Clifford was obviously in love with Donovan Mitchell. Steve Clifford and Rich Cho did not have that same kind of relationship.
They did not, no.
There was a weird thing with Clifford, Cho, and Jordan. There was this weird communication, who has daddy's ear more sort of situation, and it didn't always mesh between Clifford and Cho. I think Peterson would have gotten along much better with Clifford, and then they would have made Donovan Mitchell the pick.
It's funny because I think Cliff had MJ's ear more than Cho, and whatever Cho had, I think probably ruined it with passing up on Donovan Mitchell, who was just so good right away. That's the issue, is Mitchell was amazing immediately.
Right, but who has the ability? It's one thing to have their ear. It's the other thing is being able to convince. And so I guess that would be the more pertinent question. Maybe is could Jeff Peterson have said no to Michael Jordan's wishes? Hey, I think this Malik Monk guy's better. I don't know.
Probably not. No, I'm gonna guess not. Honestly, to that, there's no. Actually, I'm not gonna guess. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna know that he's not gonna convince MJ. If MJ wanted it to happen, then he would have made it happen. That's just
I believe
how it was
Jeff
gonna
Peterson.
go.
I believe he would have stood his ground and said, "No, sir, Michael. Donovan Mitchell is the better prospect here, buddy."
Yeah, that would have taken a lot of yuspa from somebody deciding to go at MJ his first year on the job, essentially, or second year on the job. Just you know what? You're wrong, MJ.
Well, he had. You have to understand that again. He had just come through a portal from the future, so I think that would hold a lot of weight.
That's true. And with that being said, he probably would do an excellent job picking from that draft. Probably. Coming up next on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
He's everywhere.
We'll see if there are any loot. You said. We'll see if there are any loose fries in the Sicko satchel bag that we can eat that fell out of the container. Plus, we have another mock draft, day 57 of 61. It hasn't hit me yet. It feels like we're still weeks away, but we're not. We're a week away from the NBA draft. It's crazy.
Oh, boy.
One more segment to go. LOH. This episode is brought to you by Wayfair. There's nothing like stepping into your own outdoor space and feeling like you've escaped to a personal oasis. If you're wanting to update your patio this season, Wayfair has made it so easy to turn it into a space that feels like yours, comfortable, stylish, and ready for summer. Wayfair has everything you need to level up your outdoor space: conversation sets, outdoor bars, fire pits, hot tubs, gazebos, and yes, even the perfect string lights to set the vibe. It's like giving your backyard that resort feel without the resort price tag. That's nice. Don't wait. Make your outdoor space your dream oasis today with Wayfair and enjoy it all summer long. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop a huge outdoor selection. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. More Locked On Hornets ahead. Any loose fries in the Sicko satchel bag, Doug?
Yeah, we've got one here from Ben from the 7th Dwayne Bacon division. Draft trade idea, absolutely zero intel here, but I have a hunch that Brooklyn's got their eyes and hearts set on Ace Bailey and maybe vice versa. The Nets have a war chest of picks this year, owning the rights to number 8, 19, 26, 27. If VJ is off the board before 4, would you want to trade back with Brooklyn for picks 8, 19, and one of the 20 picks? Charlotte can probably still get Carter Bryant at 8, and then we would further consolidate some of the new Brooklyn picks with our 33 and 34 to move up again, ideally for Danny Wolf for Cedric Coward.
Hell yeah. I'd love that.
It's a lot there.
Look, so really the idea is, would you trade number 4 in this scenario? Would you trade number 4 for 8, 19, and we'll even just take the ladder of the 20s, 27. So 3 first rounders in this draft class where you can get somebody that might fall to you at 8, or you just get 3 bites at the apple. I know that trading back in the NBA draft is not the same as trading back in the NFL draft. But if you're going to give me 3 top 27 picks, and now I have 5 top 34 picks, I'm not saying that you use every single one of those selections. I know that the money has to equal out as well. Like that's a little harder. Like that's tough. You're not going to have 5 new players, but my God, man, it's a lot. It's a lot. So yeah, I would not mind that at all. Honestly, if they decided to do that, I'd probably pull the trigger.
So I think the idea here is that you don't come away with 5 players. You get multiple picks from the Nets, and then you package some of that.
Yeah.
You do what Portland did like several years ago, which was they were all over. They were trading back, and then they packaged a bunch of picks to move back up, and then they were moving down, and they were moving up, and it was like an elevator with Portland that one season. So
like Scott Fitterer, for all the Panthers fans, this is what Fitterer loved to do, which isn't a great endorsement of this philosophy, but it is what he loved to do.
But you end up coming away with, hopefully you would end up coming away with 2 first-rounders that you were in love with, that you felt like could contribute and would contribute for a few years under very cheap contracts because you were super confident in LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller. Like that's why you do this. I don't think you take 3 first-rounders to put onto a team that you're like ready to go get a bunch of veterans to surround them with. Like you're in that scenario, like you are ready to sort of cheap, because you got to pay Brandon Miller in a few seasons. You're sort of building around that core and hoping that those players take off in a similar mold to what OKC has been able to do. But you better hit like OKC did that one year when they got Jalen Williams and they got a few other prospects that are currently dogging out for them right now. So yeah, like I don't think that them coming away with like 4 first-round picks, it makes much sense if they want to up the competition level in the next 2 seasons.
I hear
that would be more of a long-term play in my mind.
That's so much to turn down. That's a lot, man. Yeah. Like I'm doing it. If VJ Edgecombe is there at 4, then I understand just going ahead and taking VJ. If he's not, then all right, you're at 8. I don't think Knipple or Trey Johnson would fall all the way back that far. Ace Bailey goes 3 in this scenario. You have Fears, right? Let's play this out. If Fears is a pick, you're not worried about Fears. So, okay, that's fine. We didn't want him anyway. That puts you in Jokic Honas territory. Maybe somebody's fallen in love with Collin Murray-Boyles. Maybe somebody wants him. Like, is there a Derek Queen? Come on, Malawach. He's probably going up there. Okay, we don't want Malawach here in Charlotte, so that there's another guy that it doesn't concern us. Yeah, like there's some nice options that could still be there at number 8 for you. So
I will say Ben is in my brain right now because if they come away from this draft with Carter Bryant and Cedric Howard, you're going to see Dancing Doug on that version of the Locked On Hornets pod. I will actually do a literal dance if that's what they come away with. Plus, if they were to make some of that deal happen, plus bring back another veteran shooter. I mean, that would be, to me, that's home run. And part of that for me, if I'm being honest, is that my full faith and confidence in VJ Edgecombe becoming a star is not there. My full faith and confidence in Trey Johnson being able to contribute in the ways that the Hornets need a player to contribute immediately at the wing position, not there because he's not strong enough. He can't get downhill enough. Like I love Trey Johnson. I fell in love with his shooting. I fell in love with his offensive creativity early on in this draft process. But the more I look at it, in a world in which the Hornets had a wing that was more burly and more physical, there would be a universe in which I could see Trey Johnson really being an impact player on this team. But it's just becoming more difficult for me to envision that. And that's despite I'm looking at, I don't have a mock draft for you today, but I do have final NBA draft prospect rankings, which is just as good as a mock draft from CBSSports.com. And they've got Trey Johnson 3 in their final rankings. This is a poll of the CBS Sports staff, and they've got Trey Johnson 3, but the comp is still Malik Monk, which may be part of this too. It's scaring the crap out of me. I think that's a Kyle Boone comp, but they've got the pro comparison Malik Monk for Trey Johnson. That's difficult for my mind to deal with.
Well, Malik Monk now is, like you're worried about first 4 years for Doug Branson, Malik Monk. Malik Monk, 6th man of the year favorite. I think he should have won, but that's because I love Malik. But Malik Monk now, that guy's really good. So I'm fine with Trey Johnson turning into that kind of guy. The thing about Trey with the rim stuff, you do worry about it. He's scrawny. There's no doubt. I actually think there's some like 2-foot jumping in the paint, finishing chops to his game with the defense a little more spread out. I just think there was so much of that offense that relied on his tough shot making, and also the fact that you can shoot threes, that you do have, I think, some, enough shots in the bag to be able to be a threat from a bunch of different areas. I hear you on all of it. It's why I would take VJ over Trey, but I'd be fine. I'm taking Trey over Knipple. I will tell you that. So that's how I would have the shooting guards ranked right now. VJ 1, Trey 2, Knipple 3. But yeah, I like the trade back scenario too. If you're able to collect all those first round picks, 5 top 34 picks. It's a lot. It's a lot in this draft. So that'd be crazy to figure out what to do with it. Is that going to do it? Nothing else from you? No more Sicko Satchel? No more mock drafts? Are we done?
Well, we're not done with mock drafts. We've got a few more to get to next week, but we will be in the week of the draft. All the smoke,
Crazy.
all the mirrors, all the trying to figure out what in the bleep the Hornets are going to do because they are super secretive now about their entire draft process. It's going to be fun. We're going to get a lot of stuff right. We're going to get a lot of stuff wrong. But we're going to have a lot of fun.
All right, that'll do it. Thanks for making us your first listen. We're free. We are available anywhere you get your podcast. That does include YouTube. Doug Branson, everyhornetsboxscore.com. Big week ahead for them on Locked On NBA. Go check it out. Matt Moore, Hardwood Paroxysm is his Substack. Also check out Hayes on Locked On NBA. Also, Locked On Bulls is what Hayes is hosting as well. If you got a little Bulls fandom somewhere in you. I'm Walker Mail. Listen to me, WFNZ, every weekday from 12 to 3 p.m. One more day to go on the Kyle Bailey Show from 3 to 6. Have a great weekend. Draft week next week. Tune in. We'll cover everything about it, baby. We're going to have you updated.